What's up, everybody?
Hey, everyone.
So, I guess Kelly has something that she wants to do today. It's a little different.
It is. Yeah, I've been thinking about doing this. And I think with your relapse recently, I think that it might be really good to talk about and to share the 12 steps of recovery. And the thought came to me to start with step 1 and to maybe just talk a little bit about what step 1 is, and then I've got questions. I've got step 1 questions that whenever you step into recovery and you're working the steps, you usually work with a sponsor and you write down the answers to these questions and you get honest. And so I thought that we're in recovery, and we're doing it with the world, and why not? I mean, it makes me a little uncomfortable and it makes me like a little, but that's the great thing about growth and progress and change is being uncomfortable and doing things that is uncomfortable. And because it can also help others to think about their own lives and think about where they are. And we're being open, we've opened our books, and so here we go. But we're first going to talk just like about step 1, like what even is step 1. And if y'all will just bear with me for just a couple minutes, I'm going to read a few things, and like if you have thoughts that you want to share because you have taken step 1. I mean, we take the first
I was
step.
Powerless over my addiction and that my life had become unmanageable. I don't know if you're going to read more into it, but yeah. I'm powerless over my addiction. My life's unmanageable, and I have to just be open to, yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. Staying clean has to come first. We realize that we can't use drugs and live. Like when we admit our powerlessness and our inability to manage our own lives, we open the door to recovery. Like just knowing that I cannot manage my own life. Whenever I try to, I get very controlling. Like I want it to be a certain way. No one could convince us that we were addicts. It was an admission that we have to make for ourselves. And we're all addicts. We're all addicts of something. We truly are. Anything in our lives that we kind of like obsess over, that gets in our thoughts and our minds, and we want to do it, and we have no control over it. There's the secrecy of it. There's the isolation. We try to control other people because we need our time. We want to like stay in our addiction. And so it's like so much control. Powerlessness means using anything, having our addiction, like whatever it is, against our will. And we reach a point where we can no longer continue using because of physical, mental, and spiritual pain. We were beaten and we became willing to change. Because, you just get to the point where you're just at a bottom. Mm-hmm. And it's like...
It's just pure misery.
Yeah. Like you had said in your video where you were talking about it, how you just felt so ugly and so dark, and it just gets so depressing.
Yeah.
That's where it takes us.
Yeah, I never really had a hard time admitting that I had a drug problem. Like it's the unmanageable part. Like I've always felt like I can do this. As long as I have what I need, I can do it. I can make this happen. But it's just all control issues and just wanting to be in control of everything. But yeah, that's step one is definitely the beginning for anybody that can't stop doing something.
Right. And we begin by asking for help.
Mm-hmm.
We can't do it by ourselves. Like, we just get to that point where we're powerless over whatever it is that is keeping us stuck in whatever our addiction is. I mean, we're completely powerless over it.
Yeah.
And so that's what the foundation of recovery and of the 12 steps is that admission that we of ourselves have no power and that we need help. Is there anything else? Being clean from whatever our addiction is and working this first step is where we are released from our chains, where we're released.
And it is amazing how I even said it. It's amazing how fast it happens. Like, once you just say it out loud and just put it out there for the world to hear, it's done. I mean, you have admitted it. You have taken that step, and I mean, it takes work, but the process has begun once you can just admit that.
Right. One last thing. Let's see. Surrender means not having to fight anymore. Like, we don't have to fight it. We accept our addiction and life just the way it is. We accept it. And we become willing to do whatever is necessary to stay clean, even the things that we don't like doing.
Yeah.
I don't like really doing this, opening up to the world and like just sharing things that's, uncomfortable. Because it's hard. It can be.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it is very uncomfortable.
Yeah, to say the least.
But I'm willing. Like, I want to be healthy and well and have peace and serenity and joy and live in that blissful state. And I know that it takes work. It takes daily work, and I'm willing to do it. So we're gonna see where this takes us, and see what happens. I'm gonna let you just pick a question and let's see what it says.
How did you first become aware of your addiction, and what initially drew you to it?
First become aware of my addiction.
I knew I was an addict at a really young age. Like, that drugs were just the solution for me.
Did you?
Yeah. I didn't know it was going to become such an issue, such a problem, but I knew that they were I even when I broke my ankle at 12, I remember the first time I had that euphoria come over me. When the doctor put me out and I woke up and I still had it in me, I was like, there was just not a care in the world. That's at such a young age. And I remember the first time that I used anything. I mean, I was constantly quitting. So it's to quit 1,000 times, it gets really hard on the psyche. But I know I can do this if I just keep doing what I'm doing. So
I think I realized I had addiction issues. It really hit me was around 2008. And so it wasn't until my 30s, I think. I was in my 30s before I realized I have an addiction. I'm addicted. And I was addicted to smoking weed during that time, and also pills. And my life was completely unmanageable. It was just crazy. And I ended up at that time admitting myself into a mental facility to get help. And so I had that, I had the mental issue, which it all goes together, the mental and also the drug addiction. And so that is whenever, like, the people in the hospital were like, yeah, you're an addict, like you have addictive, and that's whenever I really realized that, oh, okay, like, this isn't just like, I knew you were an addict. Like, I could say, oh yeah, he's totally a drug addict. And other people, because your addictions, like, were obvious, but mine were like, I was not even aware that I really was an addict. I thought that I could control, myself. But I mean, I couldn't. I thought I did. But
yeah, I guess I really became aware that it was a serious problem in my 30s, early 30s, when I finally got put in rehab. Had AA forced on me or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
They always say AA will ruin any person's addiction real quick,
Right.
Once you're aware, it's like you just can't, it just doesn't work anymore. Once that awareness is opened up and
Right.
you know what's going on, there's just no happiness in it.
Yeah, no, there's not. And I've fought that addiction, and mine also comes with the codependency, because that is also an addiction, controlling other people. And so I've fought that, and I've still, I think that it's not necessarily a fight today, because I'm aware of it and because I recognize the behaviors whenever I get pulled into it a lot more today. And so, thankfully. So, you want to do another?
Sure. Oops. When did you first realize that you were an addict, and did you feel that your life was unmanageable at that time? In what ways?
Oh, well, that was the same thing.
You did that. Have you ever done something that you did not want to do but engaged in it anyway because of your addiction? How did this make you feel? Yes, I have used many times, 100% not wanting to use. It's so insane.
Oh, yeah.
It's so insane how, the whole process of getting the drugs and using them and then being loaded, it's like my mind just becomes consumed with the thought of using, and I know that it's just one time and then I'm back at it for months or years even, and so it is one, if I follow that obsession just one time, it's gonna take something serious to stop it, and luckily right now in my life, I have a lot of consequences whenever I use, and so it becomes really painful really quickly, and it didn't take me long to say I gotta stop. I'm killing myself, and I don't have even the ability to have my own kids, just whatever. So it's the pain just has to be so big that it breaks that cycle. But yeah, the obsession to use, that's what has to be broken. And the only way to break that obsession is to talk about it. It's to go to meetings, to talk about it, to talk about what's on your mind, and put it out there for the world to hear.
Yeah, because it's in the secrecy. It's in keeping it to ourselves and trying to hide it, and that it feeds it. It just continues it, and that's me. Like, yeah, I've done things that I didn't want to do. It's just part of it. Using that, like you said, you get to a point where you recognize, okay, I'm addicted to it. You ruminate. It's like an obsession that you don't want to do, but you have to. because you're not going to feel normal. Like you got to do it so that you stay at that mental state. Otherwise, if you get out of that mental state of that high, then it's too painful. It's like, oh no, now I got to face all the unmanageability. It's like all the chaos that is going on around me. Like, it's easier to just not. To not deal with it.
Now I have to work instead of just go through the process of working. Right. I actually have to be here mentally and actually work instead of I'm just not even there, and I'm working and doing it and just going through the steps. My the mother of my children, she always said it's like I'm on autopilot. Like I have the ability to do what I do without even being there, just completely autopilot. And I mean, and so now all of a sudden I've got to actually be here and be present and work and make money and take care of myself and take care of kids and take care of life. And it's like, it's a lot. That's why they put people away in rehabs for months and 6 months and even longer. It was because life is just too much to take on.
Yeah, and when we're in that addiction, it's like life around us is so unmanageable. It is. And we're the ones who are making it that way by our living on autopilot, by ignoring all of the stacks of paper that's coming into our lives that it's just easier just not even to deal with. It's easier just to let things, whatever happens is whatever's going to happen, and I don't even care. Until it gets to the point where it's like, you got the consequences, and you're having to face them, and it's too painful to use, and it's too painful to live. But the using, I mean, the consequences of that are just, it's death. It's physical death, mental death, and spiritual death. I mean, we can keep living and be dead, and so, yeah, addictions, it makes us do the things that we don't want to do. And it makes you feel, it makes you not feel. It asks, how did this make you feel? Well, it makes you not feel. But, whenever you come face to face with realizing the things that you've done, that makes you feel like crap. It can really make you feel bad. And make you want to just not feel.
Yeah. That's why you want to keep using, and it's so hard to break, is because you just don't want to face it. You don't want to face it all. And you have to. You have to face it. You have to face it, and you have to talk about it. You got to get it out, or the only other solution is to go back and to continue doing what you've been doing.
Yeah. I was thinking about with my life and my addictions and everything, and my obsessive thinking about so much, it has caused me to be unavailable. It's caused me to be unavailable truly to my children. Like, and that's like the hardest thing for me to come to recognize for my children, is that they didn't have a mom who was really present a lot of the time, because I was so caught up in other people or in my own self, my own addictions, and so coming to that awareness today as I'm in recovery, it brings a lot of sadness to me, but I am forgiving of myself, and I have compassion for myself, because I can recognize that I was sick and that I did the best that I could, and that's not to say that I was a bad mom or anything, but I mean, I just realized that I was not there the way that I could have been there for them. And now they are in their lives having to learn and accept, their childhood and do what I'm doing today. And thankfully I'm able to teach them and show them that there is a different way.
Let's see. How much time have you devoted to your addiction during the worst and most typical periods of your addiction, and how has this affected other areas of your life? Wow. During the worst and most typical periods of my addiction, how much time have I spent? I my whole life. I mean, when I'm on, I'm on. That's the only thing that matters from the moment I wake up in the morning to the minute I go to bed at night. That's all that it's about. Everything else is just like, how can I make this work?
Or annoyances.
Yeah, it's really sad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really sad because it's just so selfish. It's so selfish that, the only thing that matters is how I feel. Not like, how can I make somebody else feel better? How can I bring joy into somebody else's life? It's just, how can I feel or not feel, or how can I just be? Yeah. What a sick way to live.
And so many people are, because there's so many different kinds of addictions. I mean, if you just think about like technology, like our phones, how many people are just so attached to their phones and what's going on in their phones that they're ignoring their children, or they're just handing their children a phone to get them. I mean, truly, we're creating an addictive society of children. I mean, there's goods and there's bads, with it. What's the question? How much time have you devoted to your addiction? Yeah.
During the worst, I mean, that's just bad. That's just
me as well. Like, I can look back and I can see how as soon as I would wake up in the morning, like, I would have to go smoke marijuana. Like, marijuana has been like a big addiction for me. I can recognize throughout my life. I also believe that it is a great medication and it can be helpful also, but I can see where it can be very addictive, and I can recognize the times in my life where I was addicted to it and using it as an escape. And I can also recognize the times where I truly have used it as a medication to help me. And through doctors, and doctors being aware of it and knowing. But the times that I was addicted, it's like my whole everything was like, if we're going to go anywhere, well, I mean, am I going to be able to use? Like, I'm going to have to wait, or I'm going to have to sneak off, find a place to use it. And then there's like, I don't want anyone to smell it. And, I have to hide it. I don't want anyone to see. I don't want anyone to be aware. Like, my mind, it's constant. It's a constant. And if I'm not using, then I'm aggravated. I'm so aggravated at everybody else because they're keeping me from being able to use. And so then I have to control the situations, I have to control my life so that I can control my usage. I can use whenever I want to or need to. I would use it in the morning, then during the day, and then at night, and it's a all the time thing.
Yeah. And if you have to sneak something and you have to hide something, then you're doing something that is not in alignment with yourself.
Right.
Because I mean, if I have to hide it, that it feels so good to have my kids, and like, they'll see me take a medication or do something, and they're like, what is that? They have questions, and I don't have anything to hide from them, and I love it. It's like, y'all, I don't have anything to hide from y'all right now. You can ask me anything, and that just feels good.
It does.
It builds my self-esteem. I don't have to sneak anything from them. I mean, you're sneaking something from an 8 and a 12-year-old. I mean,
Right.
come on. You know, a 16 and a 20-year-old. Just so sneaky, everything. Just so sneaky. Sneaking from my wife, sneaking from my family, sneaking off to just... It's just...
And it keeps that guilt going and that shame going, and it just keeps all that heavy negative stuff that's just so... it chains us. It just drags us. It's so horrible.
Yeah.
And I feel the same today too. Like, I just am... I don't feel like I have anything that is like really addictive in my life today. And it just is... such a relief, like such a freedom.
Yeah, that's great.
It really is. Let's see. Shall we do one more?
One more. Does your addiction make you feel isolated from other people, either internally or externally, and have others noticed this as well? Whether others notice it or not is not, I'm sure, yeah, but I definitely isolate. I'm always going somewhere to do something so that I can go use and be high. I've pushed everybody in my life out of my life for one thing. There's a saying that you give up one thing so that you can have everything, or you give up everything for one thing. That's what addiction is. Giving up everything for one thing. And that's where addiction will lead me. So.
Yeah, I've isolated, definitely. And I'm okay being isolated. I think that's kind of, I don't know. I haven't quite come to terms with that, if that's a good or bad thing. Not good or bad. I don't even like to say that. I do recognize that being with other people is healthy and it's good, because God is able to use us to bring our gifts and love to other people, and that's really what it's about. It's about bringing ourselves and bringing light and love into this world. And with the isolation, it's just about ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it is very selfish, and I do recognize that. I'm also a person who does need time by myself, though. Like, and I think that we all do. I think that everybody needs that quiet space to go inside and to learn these things, like to sit with ourselves, to feel, to just all of that.
Yeah, there's a big difference between isolation and alone time.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Isolation is just, I want to get away from the world and just be
in my
own hell, basically.
Yeah.
But alone time is like, I want to get some energy revitalized and
be
available for people.
Yeah, there is a huge
self-preservation difference. I guess, instead of self-isolation.
Yeah, there is a huge difference, and I have done both. I have definitely isolated myself so that I could smoke weed and be all by myself and not be bothered by anyone else, and I could just be in my own head and in my own thing. And yeah, definitely I've definitely isolated. Yeah. And as we do that, we're ignoring everything that's going on around us, all the things that truly are important and that will bring so much happiness into our lives if we allow it. Yeah.
The one thing that I have to remember is I didn't get where I'm at in one day. I didn't get where I'm at in 1 year, So no matter how long it takes, I know that my life is going to be good. My life is going to be fun. And, no matter what it looks like, it's a matter of just accepting that it's where God wants me. So,
absolutely.
Might not have been the path that he wanted to get me where I got, but I'm where I'm supposed to be. So Life is good.
It is. I'm grateful for that first step. I've taken it many times, and I'm grateful to know that I don't have to have power over everything. You know, I am powerless, and it's a beautiful thing to recognize our powerlessness, because then we can surrender and we can allow our higher power to guide our lives and to make it so much more than we could ever make it on our own.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so grateful.
Me too. Good stuff.
Yeah. So
Thanks for
fun.
doing that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I hope
we'll
y'all have
to
a
do
wonderful day.
We'll have to do more
Love y'all.
as we work on recovery. So thank y'all. Bye.
Have a good one.